You are on to your regular program, Business and Economy, packaged to increase your horizon on government efforts to stand in and win the fight against insurgency in Nigeria in order to enjoy a sustainable growth and development across sectors. I am ILE EMEJE. Global insurgency and insecurity inflict significant economic impact, primarily through reduced gross domestic product growth and income, discouraged foreign and domestic investment, increased government expenditure on security, destruction, and all other problems that are associated with the infrastructural development and assets, and disruption of trade and human capital development. These factors diminish a country's overall economic potential, stifle development, and create an unstable environment for businesses and individuals. While insurgency affected areas experienced slower GDP growth, leading to a reduction in overall economic output, decreased per capita income, banditry, and conflict undermine human dignity and reduce average incomes for affected communities world over. In Nigeria, the widespread insecurity, including banditry, terrorism, and kidnapping, significantly damages the economy by deterring investment, increasing the cost of business operations, disrupting supply chains, reducing food production, and hindering job creation. This instability leads to higher transportation costs, suspends commercial activities, and forces businesses to relocate, ultimately increasing unemployment, poverty, and food insecurity. High levels of insecurity and instability deter both foreign and domestic investors, leading to a significant drop in foreign direct investment, with levels falling from historic lows in the country. Now, the concerns expressed by many citizens is on the lasting measures to curbing this menace in order to improve their overall well-being through a sustainable development and food security. And so today on the program, the focus will be on the fight against insurgencies, how far, how well. My guest, a professor of sociology and criminology from the National Open University of Nigeria, Professor Akoji Ocheja, will be joining me in the studio after the promo to discuss on the socio-economic impact of insurgency on the nation's economy and government efforts so far to curbing all the problems. We'll be back in a moment.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
In case you just joined us, our guest, Professor of Sociology and Criminology, Professor Akoji Ocheja, is here and is taking a look at the impact of insurgency on the nation's economy and government efforts so far. Prof, we want to welcome you to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. Insurgency has been identified as a major problem deterring or affecting the development of nations, including Nigeria, even before the advent of this administration. How do you agree or disagree with that?
Yes. The case of insurgency, particularly in Nigeria, dates back beyond this present administration. Because when you talk about insurgency, you are looking at efforts made by groups, organized groups, in order to either take over government or take a portion of the territory or undermine the government in power. So all of these, there are things that have been happening before the advent of this present administration. If you look at Nigeria, so let's even stop or take it from independent Nigeria in 1960. You agree with me that sometimes in 1967 to 1970, there was a Nigerian Biafran civil war, and that was a move by a section of this country to succeed a way to have their own independent nation or country. And as such, that can be said to be an example or one of the examples of insurgencies in Nigeria. Then beyond that, there have been several attempts to and organized attacks, from other parts of Nigeria. We've had the OPC, Odua's People's Congress, that attempted, fought against the military rule, then trying to bring to bear civil rule, as the case may be as at then. Then we equally have the MASOB, Movement for the Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra. Then equally the Niger Delta militancy activities over the years too can be regarded as an instance of insurgency. However, what most Nigerians see as insurgency today, especially in contemporary Nigeria, is the activities of the Boko Haram that brought insurgency to the fore or to public knowledge, beginning from around 2009 till date, and that has remained. Then beyond the Boko Haram insurgency, we equally have cases of the southeastern Nigeria too, where we have the IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra, we have the Eastern Security Network, and all of that, to a point that they have even declared Monday as a World Free Day, challenging the federal government and all of that. Then in the northwest too, there are pockets of banditry activities which can equally be regarded as a part and parcel of insurgency. So the bottom line is insurgency has been there even before this present administration came to power.
Okay. Now, what exactly, someone may want to know, what exactly is responsible for this insurgency? What exactly do they want? The practitioners of this menace, what do they want? What are their reasons?
The insurgent groups in different parts of Nigeria, north, south, west, southeast, northeast, northwest, and all of that, they have different reasons for coming in for their reaction. Yeah. Yes, because what happens in Niger Delta, for example, is different from what is happening in the northeast and northwest. Okay. And the same thing applies to southeastern Nigeria and all of that. But generally speaking, we talk about poverty that is from the economic angle now. Yeah. Unemployment, youth unemployment, suffering, inequality. All of this can be said to be economic factors that can make a group of people to come up to attempt to overthrow the government or to cause mayhem or terrorist activities within the country. In the Niger Delta, for instance, it was a reaction against environmental degradation. Yeah. The people were out to say enough of the oil spillage, and at the same time without bringing development to their zone or to their area.
Great compensation. So
yes. So now that does not apply to other insurgency groups. The OPC, for instance, was purely political to ensure that the military gives way for civil rule so that more people can participate in governance. Then in the southeastern Nigeria, he's still talking about marginalization. They are talking about equity, proper representation, underdevelopment, bad governance at the national level, and all of that. And as such, believing that since the source of the economy for the nation comes from that zone, then they should have direct control of it. Then at the level of northern Nigeria, northeast, Borno State and some other states around there, you discover that it's more or less ideological, religious extremism, and all of that. Then there are equally political factors where failed politicians try to manipulate the people using the ethnic divide and religious factors to confuse the people in order to have hatred for the national government. And as such, all of these factors, political, economic, sociocultural, religious, and all of that, all put together before insurgency can take place or come to a particular society.
All right. The most worrisome in all of this and across areas is the fact that some insurgents in a particular area, especially in the northern part of the country, go ahead to, they involve the killing of farmers, visiting farms, taking hold of farms or communities, and killed the communities, the dwellers, the rural communities, and then kill them and take over the place. Is it a case of going against farmers or to ensure that food security is disrupted? Somebody may want to know, why killing of the farmers? Why kidnapping the poor if you are fighting against national government? Why?
Well, insurgency involves land acquisition. It involves taking over of a territory. And whatever happens within that territory would equally be taken over. Communities have been exterminated, people have been sent away packing from their locations and all of that. For example, if a terrorist group, say, takes over a state, the next thing naturally for them to do is to begin to advance to get more states under their own territory. Remember that sometimes ago, some communities, some local governments in some states had Boko Haram flag hosted in such communities to indicate that it has been taken over by the insurgents. So, and as such, once they have taken over, both the economy, the politics, the religion is taken over alongside everything. So killing of farmers here now, remember the insurgents too, they need money to fund some of these things they are doing. So they need the crops on the farm, they need the farmers to be out of the way. Remember, they are not existing in the air. They are living on the ground, they are living in camps and all of that. So it is the farmers that are likely to discover in the course of their farming activities, to run into them, to discover where they are staying, to know their camps, and to possibly give some tip-offs to security agencies to now clamp them down and take over their possessions or even doing away with their lives. So as a way of securing themselves, so the available people, the visible people, the first port of call is the farmers, because they are the ones, you know, traversing the forests and the farmlands and all of that. So and as such, they come face to face with them. And remember, many of the farmers too, or even religious leaders, are against insurgency. So and as such, they had to react by taking a toll on them. Beyond that too, even though it's a fight against the government, who is government? It's you and I. Yeah. It is everybody. It's every citizen. They cannot move from where they are to come to Abuja or to go to Aso Rock to say they will take over a power, as the case may be. It's not going to be easy. As a matter of fact, for these groups that are operating, it's impossible for them to take over power, especially at the national level. But where they think they have a stronghold, they first of all take possession of that territory with the hope that they can advance further from there. So the farmers naturally
fall victims
and become more vulnerable than the military or than the federal government and the agencies of government.
Can we also be right to say that this insurgents is a case of illiteracy worrying them? If not, how can you begin to kill the farmers that are not maybe at the head of the affairs, to take their land, terminate their lives, and disrupt economic activities in the land? Is it a case of illiteracy or a case of staging the war between the farmers and the insurgents in order, just like you said, to take the land? If a people are educated, can you just be, I don't want to say brainwashed, or begin to fight against someone that is not directly involved in your cause?
Yeah, well, ignorance may be part of it, but a lot of them are, especially their leaders, they are educated in terms of Western education or even Islamic education and all of that. So it's not everybody that is illiterate or uneducated. And remember, like I said, when insurgency is mentioned, the natural thing for a typical Nigeria is to begin to look at only Boko Haram as the insurgent group in Nigeria. But there, like I mentioned earlier, there are other insurgent groups. So it's not lack of education. or it could be ignorance. Some insurgencies that are connected to religion, some could have been brainwashed, believing that when you die in the course of fighting these wars, as the case may be, that you go to heaven, you are given
7 virgins.
7 virgins or even more, and all of that and all of that. So that suits them. That to a large extent pacifies some or gives some level of hope that even though they give up, then there is still life after that and going to be better for them. But if that is explanatory of maybe the northeast, northwest insurgency, how about the southeast? How about the southwest? How about the south-south? Is it lack of Western education that is responsible for that? The answer is definitely no, because the level of education for these other zones is at an appreciable level, and as such, we cannot claim that only education is responsible for such attacks, or lack of education is responsible for such attacks.
Okay. I watched a video clip recently where some of our former leaders were emphasizing on the need to engage in discussion, on a roundtable discussion, other than to go to war. Now, can you just make a highlight of the effect of insurgency on a nation, especially on the nation called Nigeria? What are the likely impact or the effect, socio-economic and political effects that this may cause on the Nigerian economy?
Well, at the economic level, definitely the impact is very high and a very negative one at that. For instance, those that the Niger Deltans and all of that, that's the treasure base of the nation.
Yeah.
Today, Nigeria depends majorly on the crude. And now, if the source of that crude for foreign earnings and for development is affected or is taken over or is distorted, definitely what comes to Nigeria in terms of foreign earnings or income is going to be drastically reduced. And just like in the case of a human being, what you are getting, if it's reduced or if it does not even come at all, definitely you cannot be well, or you cannot be where you are supposed to be. So economically, it affects the nation. Companies, foreign companies, and even local companies are folding up. So many organizations have closed their branches due to the activities of these insurgents. And as such, the participatory role of these organizations in the Nigerian economy can definitely affect the economy of Nigeria, because what they were doing in such zones is no longer forthcoming, or is no longer operational. Then that invariably will lead to some level of unemployment, because if a company is closed down, if an organization is locked down, then there will be no need. Rather than employing more people, the existing staff would either be redeployed to some other places if they can accommodate them, or lay them off arbitrarily. And that too has
a triple effect even.
Yes, because for those that were working and are no longer working, then you know the implication. That takes them into poverty. It takes them into some can take to drug abuse. Some other laid-off workers can go into one form of crime or the other in order to survive. So it has, like you said, a triple effect on the economy. Like I've mentioned, companies are closing down. The source of income for the nation is shut down or drastically reduced due to the impact of these insurgents. Unemployment, laying off of staff, and all of that. All of this will definitely affect the nation economically. Like we talked about the southeastern Nigeria.
Yeah.
Monday is supposed to be the first day of the week for work beyond Sunday. Now it is declared as sit at home. You know, all the airports around there wouldn't work or operate. All the transportation system will be halted.
Will be
shops closed down, business activities folded, banks inoperational for that particular day. And remember, there is still Saturday and Sunday. So these are the activities of this Eastern Security Network, or the IPOP as the case may be, you know, has reduced the work, the days of work for the week from 5
days to
4.
To 4 days. And that one day is very, very important.
Definitely. So if you look at what Nigeria loses per day, let me say just that Monday alone, it's like 20% of the country's earnings from that axis for that day. Then politically, it leads to political apathy. You know, people from such zones or areas lose interest in election. You know, elections are chaotic. So many people, as time goes on, will be discovered to begin to boycott election, or to even say that since they are not part of Nigeria by their own assumption, then elections must not take place to maybe the National Assembly from that zone, the House of Reps from that zone, and even governors. So there is likely to be counter elections to appoint their own leaders in such zones. So it affects the nation politically.
Okay.
So many politicians from such zones cannot go home regularly, and if they must go, it must be under serious armed security. That does not speak well for our politics too.
Okay. Now, the core of the matter is, what has this administration put in place? What measures has this administration put in place to stemming down or possibly eradicating insurgency in Nigeria? Are there any results so far? Can we point out one?
Definitely. The administration inherited both asset and liability.
Yeah.
So let us consider insurgency as part of the liabilities that have been inherited by this administration from previous governments. Definitely, even before this government came on board, there were policies, you know, implementations made by previous administrations to stem down the tide of insurgency in Nigeria. And this administration inherited that too.
Okay.
We have the Office of the National Security Advisor, who is directly in charge of the security of the nation. Now, there are units, anti-terrorism or counter-terrorism units in the Office of the National Security Advisor. It is no longer news that the present Chief Security Advisor, that is Malam Nuhu Ribado, has done greatly. It is not bringing, social problems cannot be brought to an end. We must understand that, because even the problems have their own functions or roles they perform in the society. If there is no insurgency, soldiers, the recruitment exercise, more recruitments will not be made. If the country is just at peace 100%, then it is also wrong, because that insurgency performs its own functions too. The people that sell arms, this is their own market. They are making sales because of the insurgency and all of that. But the point is, government efforts may not be seen when the general public does not see that insurgency has been stopped.
Has come to an end.
It cannot come to an end. It can only be minimized or reduced to the barest minimum. Now, this administration has succeeded in doing that by reducing the incidence of insurgency to the barest minimum. We have seen publications, there have been videos of where a lot of insurgents were killed, where the places that, the territories that they had taken over before has been recovered by the Nigerian army, the police and the joint task force and all of that. So now the point is, this administration is following these policies and even formulating more policies to ensure that, one, insurgency does not increase beyond what they met, and two, to reduce the incidence of the activities of insurgents. Remember, we are only mentioning some parts of Nigeria that insurgency activities take place.
Yeah.
There are some places that it has not taken place before.
Yeah.
So even ensuring that it does not rear its head
To those places.
to those places is an achievement, if you ask me. Because government is doing something to even limit it to the places that it used to exist. Then, security issues, it is not everything that the government will tell the...
Come out to say, or to inform the
No,
people.
because some are top secrets that will guide their own operation. Now, it is the duty of the Office of the National Security Advisor to inform, to tell the people the rate of threat, the level of threat, and to equally announce what and what can be done to reduce. Severally, there have been memos, there have been declarations of the threat level of some parts of Nigeria. So that too is one of the measures that government has taken. Then ensuring that insurgency does not go beyond what they met is not a small task. The Office of the National Security Advisor also provides leadership in terms of security, provides coordination, provides synergy for the DSS, the armed forces, the police,
the paramilitary,
yes, the paramilitary, even civil organizations, individuals, NGOs, and all of that, to make sure that they generate information, they coordinate this information to ensure that this insurgency does not go beyond what it is, but rather goes down or is reduced to the barest minimum.
All right. That's a welcome development, but some Nigerians are expressing concern also on the fact that why is it that the government is not using technology, or is it, can we also roll it down to the fact that government does not need to tell us everything? The people are saying, why don't you install technology apparatus everywhere, especially at those rural communities, so that when you are in Abuja or you are somewhere, you should be able to monitor? Is it that we have not come to that level? In order to you say it cannot go down completely, but it can be reduced. But is it a possibility?
Yes, definitely.
To deploy technology?
To say that government is not deploying technology now will be unfair on the part of government, because for government to do what it's doing, it shows that some level of technology has been deployed. Beyond the cost, there is the problem of training people to handle it and all of that. Technology has been deployed. The paramilitary, the DSS and all of that, that are stemming the tide of insurgency, that are gathering information, they are using technology. Definitely. We can say that more technology can be deployed, but to say that they are not using technology now is not possible. Information gathering, intelligence gathering is not an easy task. So definitely some discussions from the camp of the insurgents, government is getting them. There is security report on daily basis to the Office of the National Security.
On daily basis?
On daily basis from all local governments of this nation. So these are part of the things that I said about security that may not be announced publicly and all of that. There is nothing that happens on daily basis that is not recorded and reported on daily basis from all the 744 local governments, 774 local governments of this nation. So they are getting the security report, getting the locations of the insurgents and all of that. Remember, sometimes people will say, why can't the insurgents be bombed and all of that? Some of them are citizens of Nigeria, some are residents and all that. And as such, as it is, they are not living only in the forest. They have their informants at home too, and in towns and cities and villages and all of that. Now, if you wipe away everybody, maybe it is reported that community A insurgents are there, or some of them are around there. So by the time you wipe everybody, this thing is not written on people's foreheads. So you cannot even know who is an insurgent and who is not. Somebody that you don't suspect is a member, could even be a leader. And as such, meetings that are held on how to tackle these problems could equally have some of them attending. And at the end of the day, what you decide before you implement is already with them. And either they have left that place or they too have set up a counter program or activity that will forestall the success of government apparatus that are coming to attack.
All right, okay. So what should Nigerians, rounding now, what should Nigerians expect from government's efforts on insurgents, and how can Nigerians themselves, every one of us, help the government to achieve this war against insurgency? In 1 minute.
Okay, the truth is, there is no community that can claim that they don't know the good people in that community as well as the bad people in the community. If you go to some communities, they will tell you, so forest, don't go there because there are insurgents there. Some communities, they know the points where they keep victims of kidnapping. Now, we cannot live. When we say government, I mentioned the other time that government is you and I. Yeah. Government is everybody. But looking up to government officials or elected government officials to stand in alone in this fight is going to be a war that cannot be won.
All right.
So it has to do with a concerted effort of everybody, both the civilians, the military, the police, the religious leaders, children, adults, women, men. Everybody must be involved. Remember, the most important thing in security is information. And who provides this information? The citizens.
Okay.
Government is doing their own part. Then the citizens too must be ready to do their own part. Some persons will tell you they are afraid. They cannot go to a police station. They cannot go to a military base and give them information in case either they will be arrested or they will be made to lead the team to where those things are. Or if the insurgents get to know that you were the one that sold them out, then you, your family members, whatever belongs to you, will be raised down.
Right. So
and as such, until the people are ready, then the fight can be won.
All right. The fight against insurgency is everyone's responsibility, including you and I. And information gathering is very important to the relevant authorities. That is the opinion of my guest. And that is our package on today's edition of Business and Economy. The guest we have been speaking with is a professor of sociology and criminology, and he is of the National Open University of Nigeria here in Abuja. Prof, I want to thank you so much for coming to enlighten us and to educate us that the government is working and that there is hope for us.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, to our esteemed audience out there, we sincerely appreciate your time with us as usual today again. Stay with us for more of our programming. I am ILE EMEJE saying good day.